You know, I say we don't have an excuse. For 30 years, after they dissolved or they sold off Ghana film industry, which was the main regulatory body for film in this country, everything went to the dogs. It was a free-for-all. No regulation, nothing. And of course, technology brought the price for filmmaking to the common man who could now make a film from his phone.
Yeah.
So, and that happened in all countries, trust me. It happened in India, it happened in America, everywhere. It affected everybody. But today, as of 2017, we have what we call the Film Development and Classification Act 935, which is the Film Industry Regulatory Act. So we have an act. And then we also have what we call the National Film Authority, which comes out of that act to operationalize it. It's been there for how long? So what we're saying is we should stop pointing to government.
Okay.
Because government has given us what we wanted after 30 years. Whether we like it or not, it has given it to us. When we talk about Film Fund, I wish I could get the Film Act. There's a funding component, Film Fund component in the Act, which states the revenue streams for which you get the film funding from.
Yeah.
And it empowers the National Film Authority to give charges for services rendered, services that are internally generated revenue. So when you go and submit your film for classification, you charge a fee. But the act is about regulation, and it ought to be an act that looks comprehensively at the whole industry, from production all the way through to distribution and marketing, all the way through to exhibition and so forth. And looking most importantly at those value chains that have monetary, and right ownership aspects, which is copyright issues for all those people within that value chain. It requires a legislative instrument, an LI, to operationalize all those elements, because that is where the details come out. So yes, it says film production, but at what level of film production? When you come in, must you submit your script? To who you should submit your script? At what fee you should submit your script? If you have an exhibition hall, or your, for instance, if your DVD rental, do you have the rights, ownership, to be able to rent that particular film? Have you sought the right from the owner? That is a monetary issue to the right owner, because you're commercializing and renting out his work and benefiting from it, from which he must also receive a royalty for you to be able to do that. So it becomes a copyright right ownership. And even within the film, we the performers, or whoever, may have an agreement with that particular producer, or that we also have our rights within there for our royalties. So it means that a lot of people are being disenfranchised, because films are being rented, films are being shown, and there's no way for you to track your royalties or the activities of the film. So when we talk about this legislative instrument, which I think the NFA finally, after us nibbling at their backs for God knows how long, are now finding some ways to go about doing it. I think
you haven't really been impressed with their work.
Look, it's not about being impressed. Look, some of us I've seen my colleagues die in poverty. Abject poverty. Okay? Sleeping under benches and under... You have no idea how many funerals I have attended.
For your colleagues?
Over 50 of my colleagues in the past, God knows how long. Abject poverty. So I don't sit here after advocating for the law and fighting for it to take it lightly. Because every moment you waste in not granting somebody the opportunity to maximize his or her rights is a death sentence, literally. Because you have situations where people come on TV and come and beg for 5,000 CDs or 500 CDs or 1,000 CDs. Actors.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that fair? So I don't take it lightly. So when there's an organization that is there, it must do substantial work.
Yeah.
Work that is related to ensuring that these safeguards are met for everybody in the value chain. It's not about having conferences and webinars, and it's not about
This
that.
thing you brought up, did it scare you at one point that you might, for want of a better word, make the same mistakes that some of your colleague actors had made, which is why they were broke to the extent of asking?
It's a beautiful question. Fortunately, if you're granted the grace and you can see what's going on, like my dear sister, you know how to balance yourself.